Hi, Mr. Ford here, and today we're going to be taking a look at how to make a bar graph using the graph generator. Content covered in this video includes how to organize your data points, to create your graph properly, and how to generate and save your graph afterwards. Let's get started. So when you first open up the generator, you're going to be greeted with a whole bunch of slots here, and this is where we're going to input our data. Under graph title, we're going to give the graph a name. The horizontal label is for our x-axis. In this case, we're going to call this meals eaten. And the vertical label is for your y-axis, your up-down part of your graph. And this is where we're going to say number. This next part is super important. It's the horizontal data type. This means how is the graph going to label your x-axis? Does it need to label it with numbers? Does it need to label it with words? We're going to go ahead and select data labels for words. And then underneath that, we need to insert our labels. Now, unlike other graphing tools, these labels will not be attached directly to a bar. So we kind of have to play around with the names. In this case, we're going to make all our names a little bit short because we have a ton of different bars, and hope that the names kind of line up. So if it doesn't line up for you the first time, you might have to go back and kind of add spaces or remove spaces. And to put spaces in between words, we have to use the underscore key. So to use the underscore key on a traditional keyboard, you're going to click Shift and the underscore icon, which is the button next to 0 up at the top of your screen. After we've put in our data labels, we're going to pick our number of lines or number of bars. We're picking 7 bars in this case, and it's going to give us 7 sections to input our information. So we're going to go ahead here and label each of our bars. Now, while it won't label underneath the bar, this will create a legend on the side of our graph that will tell us what each color represents. And then here in this big jumble of numbers, this is where we're going to input our values, the actual numbers for our y-axis, telling the generator how big each bar needs to be. And so we're just going to go ahead and input all our data. And then when we're done, we're going to scroll down and we're going to select Draw. And that is going to generate our graph underneath here. And so if we scroll down, you'll see here is our graph. And our graph has all the features we were looking for. Right here are those horizontal labels we were talking about. So they kind of line up underneath each of our bars, but they're not perfect. Underneath of that is our x-axis label, our y-axis label. On the right, we have that legend I was talking about that tells us what each color represents. And we have our title at the top. Now, if I want to take this graph and put it somewhere, I'm going to select the download icon, and this is just going to download my graph as a picture. I can then attach it wherever I want, Google Docs, Google Slides, wherever. I'm Mr. Ford, and this has been how to use the graph generator to create bar graphs.